I now call the Iberia Parish Council meeting to order for July 13, 2022. The current time now is 6 o'clock. We'll have the prayer led by Councilman Broussard and the pledge by Councilman Saunier. Councilman Broussard.
Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Our Father, Lord in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Tommy Pollard.
Here.
Michael Landry. Marcus Broussard.
Here.
Lloyd Brown. Warren Gottschalk.
Here.
Nellie Broussard. Paul Landry. James Trahan. Scott Rossene. Eugene Olivier. Brian Napier. Lady Fontenette Brown. Scott Saunier. Chad Montcheran.
We have 12 members in the quorum. I'll need a motion to go into public comments. A motion by Councilman Pollard, second by Councilman Brown. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Number one, Madam Clerk.
Comments from the general public on non-agenda items.
We did not receive any requests. Number two, Madam Clerk.
Comments from the general public on agenda items. Persons being considered for appointment to parish boards, commissions to address the council.
We do have one members from Mr. Darby, who is applying for sewer district appointment. Mr. Darby, if you can state your name and address for the record, sir.
It's Larry Darby, 1315 El Dubois Road. A little bit about me. I'm married. I have 3 children. Lifelong resident of Iberia Parish. I started my career in wastewater back in 1995, so I have 27 years of experience. I hold a Class 4 wastewater treatment and collection license, and I'm looking to be considered for the Sewer District 1 board.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Dorey at this time, members? Hearing none. Mr. Dorey, thank you for being here and wanting to serve the community.
Thank you.
At this time, by request of a council member, Ms. Bob is in the audience. If you want to just give us a little presentation, about 2 minutes for your program. If you can just state your name and address for the record, please.
Rosalind Bob, address 723 Bro Alley, New Iberia, Louisiana.
Thank you.
First giving honor to God, who's the head of my life, all of our lives, really. My name is Rosalind Bob, and I'm the CEO and founder of Life Grief Support Nonprofit Ministry here in New Iberia. This is our 7th year, and I want to say a special thank you to Mr. Paul Landry, because he have supported me from the beginning. And I'm here today. I deal with a lot of people with murdered children here in Iberia, and it's just so sad. Week before last, there was a young man killed about 2 that morning, and at 6 o'clock, the mom was calling me. So it's a steady thing now, and it's sad to say that's the people that I'm working with, and unfortunately. And it's not easy. And y'all know that we do have an epidemic here in Iberia Parish. And each time the families come into me, and it's like, what am I supposed to do? How can I make it out of this? And I always let them know that God is their help. I could only pray for you, but you have to lean and depend on God. Back in 2006, my son, Jamon Rogers, was murdered here in New Iberia, right around the corner from my home. And it's a sad thing when you have to stand up and watch your child bleeding to death. So that's what I had to go through. And it hadn't been easy, and for years I struggled. And first I had to get the guy caught. It took me 2 months, but did get him caught, and he's in a penitentiary for the rest of his life. And he also had a murder in Houston 2 months before he killed my son. But after I got well, a little better during the years. I knew I had work to do, you know, 'cause our kids steadily dying on the street, and it's like, oh God, it's just a struggle. So years later, Life Grief Support Ministry, we have been nonprofit for, this is our 4th year here in Iberia. I've been to the Trayvon Martin Foundation. I was invited to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I met the auntie in Houston at a conference, and she introduced me and invited me, but they paid for everything. And it's called the Mothers of Circles, and there's mothers from all over the world whose children been murdered. So it was something. And on week before last, I'm sure some of you might know about Essence Festival. Well, I was able to meet up with Trayvon's Martin mom and family again weekend before last in New Orleans. But it's just to say, you know, pray for your children. Keep them covered. Pray for your grandchildren. Keep them covered. Because we living in some treacherous days. And I live on the West End, and I see a lot of things. I had a call the other day. You know, I get calls all the time when it comes to the community, and there's a lot of things going on, especially with that fentanyl right now that's killing a lot of people, and it's steadily coming into New Iberia. So we need to do something about it, whoever, because it's serious. It is serious. And I had a family member, they slipped something on him 2 weeks ago. And I had to try to go and see about my family. And thank God he was able to throw it up instead of ingest it, because I probably would have had to help bury him, you know, by last week. So I just wanted to introduce Life Grief Support Nonprofit Ministry to the parish council, and I'm asking for y'all support.
Can you state the date and time that?
We have an
is?
event which is going to be August 6th, from 3 to 6, from 3 to 6 at the Slyman Theater, and it's our 7th year anniversary, and we're going to have the brass band, and it's a banquet, an extravaganza banquet. Tickets $20, and I'm asking the board to please support me. I'm doing a lot of work in New Iberia. I work for the state of Louisiana. I've been with DCFS Child Protection for 14 years now. And I'm just asking for y'all support, donations, whatever y'all could do to help. And because I'm doing a lot of work. And I thought it was time for me to be recognized. You know, I've touched bases with the mayor, and we have had a lot of chance to sit down and talk. And I'm glad to be able to help the city. I don't know if y'all remember, but last year around this time, there was somebody giving milk, right, and food right out here at the courthouse. Well, that was me. And I want to thank Mr. Larry Richard, because I told him, I said, look, I could bring the food or the milk in every week. I just need a place to distribute it. And he told me, he said, Ms. Bob, look, I'm going to find you a place. He said, if you could bring milk and food in during COVID, we're going to find you a place to set up. So I thank y'all. I was able to set up right in the courthouse. Unfortunately, I hadn't had a chance to do that again. And whenever it come and I'm able to serve the community, I will. But I'm asking y'all for donations, whatever y'all could do to support Life Grief Ministry. Mr. Paul always support me. And a lot of money is being put back. I don't pay for funerals, but I'll put in something when it comes to a little child or somebody pass away. A lot of times Fletcher Funeral Home calling me. And I'm like, wow, you know, and I do a lot for the community. You wouldn't imagine.
We appreciate that, Ms. Bob. I do believe there's a question for you from Councilman Napier.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bob,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for all you do for the community. If businesses or individuals want to make a donation to the ministry or whatever, could you kind of leave it with the administration? You know, how we get in touch with y'all?
Yes.
How
I'll be
checks
glad.
made and stuff like that. Because I own my own business. I'd like to. You have
Wow.
that?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and so thank you. I just want to make sure that we have
Yeah.
a place to, that we know
Yes.
how, and the public knows how to get in touch
Yes,
with
sir.
you.
My business is based at my home right now, and I'm trying to get a building because a lot of people come to my house, and you know, it's so sad. It's already they dealing with family death, and I don't want to bring all that sadness to my house. So right now,
No, I'm good.
Councilman-
Thank you, Ms. Bob.
Oh,
Councilman
okay.
Napier yields back. Councilwoman Bruce on question, Ms. Roslin?
I just want to thank you as well, Ms. Bob. I have been to one of your events, and it is quite moving, quite impressive what you were able to do and listen to the needs out there. So the fact that you're addressing that in our community is much appreciated. So thank
Yes.
you.
And
Councilwoman Bruce yields back. Ms. Bob, if you want to finish real quick, and then we'll be
Yes,
able to go back in the
I-
regular session.
I just want to thank you all for everything. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here with you all, and blessings to everybody. And just remember that God is closer to the brokenhearted and to those that are crushed in spirit. And that's Psalm 34:18. So he's even closer to us. And I know a lot of us have family members that then passed away. It's not easy, but lean and depend on God. And I just want to thank y'all for everything.
Good.
You hear?
Councilman Landry on a question for Ms. Bob.
You are doing a great thing. And
Thank you.
I have seen you at the best of times, and I had seen you at times that it was pretty tough. And you are doing a great thing, and whenever you need, come by. And I'd also like to give a shout out to the Iceman in the back that you brought with you. We were passing out ice in that parking lot, and I thought to myself, that man ain't never gonna come back tomorrow. And sure enough, he showed up, and I think he drove the forklift to get the ice
Yes.
out, and he jumped in the truck with me, and you really do a good job that is kind of under the radar, and we're glad to bring it out to everybody.
Thank you. And before I go, I'd like to introduce my husband, Taylor Bob Jr. And he also has a welding service. And yes, I have to put that in. So if anybody need anything welded,
Thank you, Ms. Bob. We
Thank
appreciate it. Councilman Landry yields back. Hearing no other comments, I need a motion to go back into regular session. Motion by Councilwoman Broussard, second by Councilman Michael Landry. Roll call members, those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. We're now back into public comments, reports from finance or administrative actions. Number one, Madam Clerk.
Balance sheets for May 2022 were emailed to the council members.
Number two, Madam Clerk.
Budget reports for May 2022 were emailed to the council members.
Number three, Madam Clerk.
Bid tabulations for water relocation for Louisiana 88 DOT project number H.010922, FAP number H010922, Waterworks District Number 3, opened on June 29th, 2022, were included in the packets.
Moving on to reports from parish or other governmental agencies. Number one, Madam Clerk.
The monthly building report for June 2022 is included in the packets.
Moving on to public works reports. Number one, Madam Clerk.
Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated June 8th through the 21st, 2022, were emailed to the council.
Moving on to special business. There is none. Council member announcements. Members, anyone on council member announcements? Councilman Pollard. Oh, good. Councilman Pollard, welcome back, sir.
Okay,
Go ahead.
thank you. Yes, I just want to get here and thank our board and commission, people that come out to volunteer the service for all the different boards that we have in the parish. You know, sometimes we have to thank these people for what they're doing, because this is a lot of volunteering work. And I just want to give them a shout out and thanks for the good job they're doing, not just one board, all of them.
Thank you for that, Councilman Pollard.
Thank you.
Councilman Pollard yields back. Councilman Olivier is recognized.
Yeah, if I can have your attention for a minute, I'd like to update everyone on the grant opportunities of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act signed by President Biden on November the 15th, 2021. This Jobs Act gives us plenty of grant opportunities, and the Police Jury Association and LMA work with the state legislators to fund $25 million to provide free service for grant writing for local government. $5 million will be for supporting the technical aspect of the grant writing assistance program, and $20 million to local government to help with match requirements on some of these grant funds. We also need to locate local infrastructure needs in Iberia Parish. I started a workshop 2 Tuesdays ago with the approval of the chairman to start introducing the actual infrastructure laws to several council members. And what I would like to do is maybe rotate the workshop with different council members for the next few Tuesdays in order to get everybody familiar with the actual law itself and the opportunities of grants that's in the booklet. And I did pass everybody a couple of booklets, one explaining the infrastructure law itself, and the other one about all the grant opportunities that's actually listed in the infrastructure bill. Some of these grant opportunities are already out there. Applications are being taken right now. Bridge Investment Program, for instance, the Smart Street and Saving Grant opportunities there. Early in the year, they had the RISE program grant that was there and expired. But the State Association, which I serve on as an executive on the executive board, we're going to have our first meeting on the 19th of next week. So the process has started. So what we need to do is be prepared when these grant riders come to Iberia Parish, and they're going to want to know what are our needs for infrastructure. So we need to have a list together or some kind of groundwork done before they get here so we can get up and running when these grant riders come here. And it's a free service provided by the state of Louisiana through this legislation that was passed this last session. So we need to take advantage of it. So next Tuesday, Paul, you're going to go ahead and conduct the workshop because I'll be at NACO for the next 2 Tuesdays. So if you go ahead and take over. And I think Brenda has a presentation that we looked at the first time. You can go ahead and show that same presentation again. And just contact Paul if you'd like to attend that workshop on next Tuesday to get familiar with the infrastructure law. Thank you.
Councilman Olivier yields back. Anyone else in comments? Councilman Brown?
Food for Family would be given away in the West End Park. That's from 6:30 to 8:30. That's July the 20th. That's for senior citizens. Michael, don't forget.
Councilman Brown yields back. Hearing no other comments from council members, parish president announcements.
Chairman, we had a ribbon cutting yesterday for AT&T expansion with fiber. They going to be going throughout the parish trying to put fiber. Of course, it's not only AT&T, it's all of the providers. But AT&T had their ribbon cutting on yesterday. Litter abatement, the weekend of July the 9th, we picked up 156 bags of trash, plastic chairs, crates, woods, tires, the whole 9 yards that goes along when you're picking up litter in Iberia Parish. That was done along Jasper Road and OLLA 25. On Wednesday of next week, July the 20th, Animal Control will be with the sponsorship of Ms. Kathy Britzel, we'll be hosting a free rabies vaccination clinic for your cats or your dogs. This is going to be from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and it's going to be in the parking lot behind the courthouse. So that's a big deal. So if you can, try to come by and get your animals some rabies vaccinations. The 20th, next Wednesday, July the 20th. There will also be an option to put microchips on your cats and your dogs for an additional $5. We may have some potential rain, so just so everyone know, and the people out that's going to be listening to this, all of our locations where we have sand and sandbags, the same locations. As of today, we have sand and sandbags in Grand Mary, the Grand Mary Fire Station, Laurelville Park, Generette BOM Fire Station, Ronella Fire Station, Lydia Fire Station, Delcom City Bourne, and also Coteau Fire Station. So go out and if you need anything, of course, this is just for sandbags. I got a phone call today. Someone was putting sand on the back of a utility trailer. So it's not for that. It's for sandbags. Put your sand in the sandbags and use it for whatever you need it for, but it's not to go and try to patch up your yard. The recycling bin at Ward 8 Recreation Center in Generette has been moved to Public Works. The new Public Works facility at 4018 Old Spanish Trail. Go down and bring your recyclables there. We have people bringing it there, but I just want to make sure that the people in Generette understand that that location have moved. And we have cameras at these locations now. We still have 2 locations that don't have cameras, but I prefer not to say which 2 locations they are. And we're in the process of putting cameras at those locations as well. And that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much.
At this time, members, is there any questions for the parish president? We do have one. Councilman Napier on a question.
Mr. Richard, just an update on the house on Louise Street in District 11?
Yes,
Demolition?
that's going to be on your agenda for the very next meeting. Planning and Zoning will give an update on all of them.
Very good, thank you.
Councilman Napier yields back. Councilman Sonia, in question?
Larry, the registrar of voters called. I think the old Public Works is going to be used as a.
Yes.
She wanted
You and
an
I need to
update
go
on-
over there. We need to go take a look at that. Marty,
I don't
that's-
have to fix it, though.
You don't have to fix it, but you need to come by with me. That's something that Marty was looking into. We have everything that we need. I think, Joe, we pretty much squared away. We have to change a window in the back. Nothing much, but we want to make sure that this is going to be a good location for people that's going to be voting. So give me a call at your earliest, so we can take care of that.
Councilman Sonia yields back. Any other questions for the parish president? Hearing none. Oh, Councilman Olivier?
Bulk waste, may I mention it?
Well, we had, yes, I can. That's a good thing. We had a meeting yesterday for council members to know with Waste Connection. Pretty extensive meeting. Eugene was there, Lloyd was there. Can't remember whoever else, what other council members was there. Of course, when I finished the meeting, I had to call our chairman and give him an update on everything that was taking place. But very good meeting. We talked about the missed pickups for the bulky waste and how we don't want to tolerate that, and we're not going to tolerate that. They have come up with a plan. I think the plan that they came up with is something that they should have come up with months and years ago, as far as I'm concerned. I think we made it perfectly clear to them that we're not really concerned about how many vehicles it takes to clean up Iberia Parish. The contract says you're going to pick up bulky waste, whether it's 1 truck or 21 trucks. So we made that perfectly clear yesterday. They understood that. Currently, they're using 3 trucks to do bulky waste in Iberia Parish, and the way it's going to work is that if your bulky waste is, your bulky waste is to be picked up every other week. If your bulky waste is to be picked up on Tuesday, and for some reason they can't finish that day, the next morning, 1 truck is going to start in that district where it didn't finish that very next day and finish that while the other 2 trucks do whatever it's doing, then they go back and catch up. We do have some district, as all of you know, in the parish that's going to have more bulky waste than others. And but at the end of the day, it's their responsibility to pick up the bulky waste in Iberia Parish. That's what we paid them for. So I thought it was a good meeting. We also talked about recyclables, since we can talk on this here. We also talked about recyclables and the location where we have our recycle bins. For your information, in the contract that we negotiated, they're also going to put some 2 additional bins at each location for regular yard waste. And at each location where the recycle bins is. So they're going to start doing that, I think, in about 2 weeks. We're going to start with the locations where we already have the cameras. And once we finish and get the cameras installed at the other locations, they're going to go ahead on and put the bins at every location. So where the recycle bins are located, you're going to have a recycle bin, but then there's going to be another 30-yard bin that they're going to put on the side to put regular household waste.
Bulky waste, yeah.
Bulky waste, yes.
Councilman Olivier, were you
That's
done?
it.
Councilman Olivier yields back. I believe Councilman Napier on the question.
One more, you got an update on the properties for sale?
I just answered that for you, I thought. That's not,
Properties for sale?
yes. Oh, the properties for sale. Okay, the update.
Surplus
Oh,
properties.
actually, I'm so sorry. Earlier you talked about that. Yeah, the properties that we have for sale, Mike is actually gone out. He's actually on vacation right now. He'll be back on Monday. We can get that answer for you next week.
Okay.
But he won't be back until Monday. Sorry.
Councilman Olivier yields back. Anyone else on questions? Hearing none. Moving on to consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. Madam Clerk.
Minutes, regular meeting of June 22nd, 2022. Summary number 116, introduced by the parish president. A resolution of condolences to the family of Mr. DeMarcus Mookie Raymond, son of Public Works Director, employee Robert Raymond Sr., who passed away on June 18th, 2022. Summary number 117, introduced by the clerk of the council. A resolution of appreciation to Assistant Clerk of the Council, Trilana Laney Curligan, who resigned her position effective July 1st, 2022.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Michael Landry, second by Councilman Brown. This time, is there anyone have a request to remove the consent agenda item? Hearing none, any discussion? Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to resolutions introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 118, introduced by the parish president. Madam Clerk.
A resolution amending the 2022 general fund budget in an amount up to $1,535 to allocate funding for the purchase of a plaque in memory of former District 13 Councilman Marty Traha all to be funded from fund balance previous years.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Napier, second by Councilman Saunier. Councilman Napier in discussion.
I talked to Mr. Elvers, and he was kind of worried about this tonight. I said, look, don't you worry about that. I think we all in favor of it. So, but he did say how much he misses Marty, and I just wanted to share that with y'all, that the family is very appreciative of everything that we doing to honor our friend and colleague Marty. And, you know, we all miss him and wish the family well. So,
Councilman
Thank you.
Napier yields back. Councilman Saunier? Councilman Saunier waves. Any discussion, members? We have a motion on the floor for unanimous second. Is there any objection? Hearing none, roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the motion carries unanimously with a unanimous second. Moving on to summary number 119, introduced by the Fire Protection District Number 1. I apologize. Madam Clerk.
A resolution amending the 2022 Fire Protection District Number 1 fund budget in the amount of $1,200,000 to recognize bond proceeds and appropriate expenditures associated therewith.
I have a motion by Councilman Landry and second Councilman Olivier. Councilman Landry in discussion. Councilman Olivier. Any discussion on the main motion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 120, introduced by the parish president. Madam Clerk.
A resolution amending the 2022 general fund budget in the amount of $3,260 to provide additional travel and travel funding necessary for registrar of voters, office employees to maintain SERA certifications.
I have a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilwoman Broussard. Councilman Brown. Councilwoman Broussard. Members, any main motion discussion? We do. Councilman Napier on discussion.
So, look, normally I do not support council member travel, and when I supported it in committee, a couple of my colleagues, you know, questioned me about that. So I don't want to seem like a hypocrite. So I called Ms. Blanchard to get an explanation on exactly, you know, what they doing, and it's for certification, learning, and all, full-time employees in the Register of Voters office. So that's why I'm gonna be supporting this, not for council travel. This is totally different. So I wanted my colleagues to understand why I'm supporting it, and I don't always, but sometimes, support travel. So I just wanted to have that said.
Councilman Napier will put that into the
I'm a
record. I
supporter.
appreciate the clarification. Councilman Napier yields back. Anyone else in the discussion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hearing no other discussion, roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 121, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution appointing Ms. Crystal Arsenault to the 16th Judicial District Children and Youth Planning Board, representing education, for the remainder of a 2-year term to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Ms. Darlene French, whose term expires December 31st, 2023.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion by Councilman, was it Saunier? And second by Councilwoman Broussard. Councilman Saunier on discussion. Councilwoman Broussard. Hearing no discussion, members? Roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 122, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution appointing Mr. Terry LeBlanc to the Waterworks District Number 3 Board for the remainder of a 5-year term to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Ms. Lisa Miguez, whose term expires August 5th, 2026.
Do you have a motion? Have a motion by Councilwoman Broussard and a second by Councilman Paul Landry. Councilwoman Broussard? Councilman Landry. I do have a question for legal. So once we accept Mr. LeBlanc tonight, he now becomes part of this seat and he vacates the other seat, correct? Because his vacancy, or his seat currently, does not come up until August, right? The seat he's sitting in right now that we appointed Mr. Duncan to, correct?
I think it was August 5th.
So that seat, he takes this seat and then Mr. Duncan comes on right after? Or does he still wait till August 5th to take that seat? Because I believe you have a board meeting this month.
You can't hold two of them at the same time, so he needs to resign. If
Can
he's
you-
gonna accept this one, he
That's,
needs to go ahead and resign the one that he has, or he needs to delay taking this one,
Yeah.
remain in the position that he is until, he resigns.
well, that was gonna be the next question I'd ask. If we accept this tonight, then he has the option whether to delay taking a seat or, go ahead.
Okay. Normally, when we have a vacancy that's to fill a partial term, the remainder of a term, it usually becomes valid when the president signs it. In accordance with the charter, the council has to adopt the resolution, and the parish president has to sign off on it for it to be adopted. So if Larry signs it, today is the 13th, if Larry signs it on the 20th of July, then that's when it would be effective. But if y'all want to designate a date here, I would think that would be appropriate.
I just never ran into this issue since I've been here.
It's unusual.
Yeah.
And of course, lately it seems like but
Okay.
he's got to sign his oath to before it becomes official. So whatever,
The end of his current
whichever one
term.
he chooses, you need somebody there so you can make your quorum. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's probably a discussion that he needs to have with the chairman of that particular board to determine whether or not he needs to go ahead and resign now, take his new position, or whether or not he is going to wait and just go to meeting.
So should we pass this with no amendments, or should we make or a stipulation in the amendment? Did-
I think we've already appointed someone to take his place that for his term that expires August 5th. So if we just make this effective August 5th, then he'll stay in his position now and just a smooth transition into the new position.
Okay.
So I would offer that substitute motion.
Without hearing any of,
I'd just like to make sure, I'll double check the date. I think that is the date, but I'll put the appropriate date if it's not that.
August 5th.
After his term expires.
okay, so is there any discussion finishing up on the main motion? Hearing none. We have a substitute motion that Mr. Duncan Mr. LeBlanc stays in his seat until the current term he's serving expires, and then he would take over right after that into Ms. Miguez's seat. Is that okay with the second?
Yes.
Is there any discussion on the substitute motion by Councilwoman Broussard? Hearing none, roll call members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 123, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
A resolution appointing one member to the Iberia Parish Sewer District Number 1 for the remainder of a 5-year term to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Mr. Wilfred Manuel, whose term expires November 22nd, 2025. Applications of interest on file for Mr. Mr. Cayman Crappell, and B, Mr. Larry Darby.
Do note, members, that Mr. Crappell has withdrawn his name. Do I have a motion?
Move.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Broussard, second by Councilman Landry. Any discussion, members?
No.
Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Mr. Darby. Ordinance is introduced for public hearing and adoption. There is none. Our next meeting will be July 27th. I'll need a motion to adjourn. I have a motion by Councilwoman Broussard, second by Councilman Pollard. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. We're now adjourned.